Okay, bro. What you want to know?
Yeah. I'm blessed, you know what I mean? I thank God every day, you know what I mean, for me being in this position.
Great entertainer, great on the mic, and then even a great worker.
I tell you, could beat me one-on-one?
Mike could do that.
All right, I gotta put the shades on. Let me buck.
Growing the game at such a global level.
You can't keep up with me and be consistent on a daily basis.
Hell yeah, look at him. He act too cool. He act too confident.
To see it come to such reward for all the hard work that you put in and to rise to the top.
Your chain turning, your neck perp. We're not.
What up, this is KRS-One with the Takeoverfiles. Make sure y'all stay tuned on this. Realness.
What's going on? It's your boy Lito TakeOVer. It's the Takeoverfiles, man. We got a nice, we just got a real edition right here. It's about to get real. We about to get into my man, Chinaman, aka the Chief. He just dropped that autobiography. What's going on, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, you know, it's just basically on my life and what I came from, my background. Starting off with my family first. You know, the things that they did growing up and, you know, how they got our family name, our last name, which is like a big legacy in the Philly area.
Tell a lot for me, bro.
Probably about I say Southwest, West Philadelphia, South Philly, North Philly. You know, they used to run the streets. They used to run the streets strong, hard. I mean, at one point in time growing up, I was fascinated by it. And I learned a lot of lessons by being fascinated by it first experience. You see what I'm saying? Caused me to go to prison. It had a lot of ups and downs to it though. You know, the streets glorify a lot of violent people, or if you address, or if you get money, or you get girls, or anything that, like, you know, is the American way. If you know how to do it well, you get glorified by it.
Right.
But then when you in the jail cell, you ain't getting no, like, it's no homage being paid, no letters, no mail, no phone calls being answered. So it's like then you grow. If you're not, you know, an ignorant person, you will learn from that experience and you grow. You say, damn, I did this, or what did I do all this for when you sitting in that cell? Because you ain't getting no letters from nobody, no mail, so you got a whole lot of time to think. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you like, damn, well, you know, I did all this for what? Is it worth it? What did I benefit off of this? And then when you realize everything, it's nothing. And that's what made me want to write an autobiography about it. To let the youth know, like, you know, like you running around, you might see this rapper talking about killing and all that. That rapper ain't really probably killed nobody. There's very few that probably killed somebody and they got locked up and they beat it. But if you running around actually doing these things, I say 9 times out of 10 and a half, you're gonna meet you gonna meet that white man and that judge and the prosecutors and them jurors and them witnesses, and you gonna meet that jail cell at least one time in your life, or you ain't really been through nothing. You see what I'm saying? As far as in the streets. And then it also talk about just my upbringing, growing up, like the struggle that I went through, like with parents being on addicted to drugs, other close relatives being addicted to drugs, and things I had to experience that made me feel as though that I had to do certain things because, like I said, my family before me was like really people in the streets and they was known. I mean, mainly in the Southwest, West Philly, South Philly, North Philadelphia area. Right. And they had an image. Some got killed, some went to jail. You see what I'm saying? So now when you watched all these things, you feel like you obligated to be the same thing that they was. You see what I'm saying? And the whole time is like, you know, you might have had older relatives that taught you certain things that you might not supposed to teach a child, but they taught you these things because it will benefit you in the streets. It'll help you stay alive. It'll help you be able to survive. It'll help you be able to peep certain things that the average person won't be able to peep. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I never was like, you know how some kids might grow up like, well, my parents ain't give me a fair chance because they did this or that. Yeah. I don't never do that. I like the fact that I was taught by my relatives about certain things in the streets. I think that's probably about 50% of the chance that, 50% of the way of how I thought to get out of situations or to move that, you know, possibly saved my life through the will of my Lord. You see what I'm saying? So I don't never be like, oh, my family was drug dealers, so I ain't had no choice. Or my families was shooters or pretty boys or cheaters or whatever you want to call them, players. You see what I'm saying? I don't look at it like that. I look at it as I use what they did good and I use what they did bad, and whatever I benefit off of it, I use it to keep my stability. You see what I'm saying?
So how were you always able? Because I can't assume that you were always able to have that balance. So
I wasn't.
At what point did you find that balance?
Sitting in the jail cell.
Yeah.
And I know it ain't funny, but honestly, sitting in the jail cell, like, not just the first time or the second time, maybe the third time is when I just start, like, realizing I didn't even get it fully, like, down pat. You see what I'm saying? I, like, fully just got it down pat, I'll say, this trip around.
So what prevented you them first 2 trips?
You said what prevented
Yeah,
me
like,
first
what stopped you from, you know what I'm saying, like, cause everybody's situation different, you feel me?
Right.
So like, you know, some people, you feel me, first time, all right, it's a tap on the head. Second time, like, damn, that shit real. What made the third time that one that made you like, damn, you know what, I really need to get this
because
shit right.
The first, I get what you're saying. The first time, it was juvenile placement. I was 14.
Right.
It wasn't really prison. Work out, you run around, you still see girls, you go to school, you can wear your regular clothes. See what I'm saying? That was just that.
Yeah.
The second time, I was certified, but I was still getting some type of love from the streets with the mail, the letters. They would still glorify me because I wasn't counted all the way out yet. I was still in my prime. I'm 16, 17 years old. You see what I'm saying? I'm looking at a 5 to 10 in the state penitentiary, charged as an adult, but I'll still be right back out. You see what I'm saying? In my mid-20s. Just so happily, I wound up getting decertified and sent out the state, and only did a year and a half. So I made it back out in 18 months. And then probably about 90 days home from juvenile placement, I was indicted by the feds. But I say that I didn't realize it at that time because I still was getting love from the streets and the people that was glorifying this, which makes you still feel big, make you feel like wherever you at, if you still getting glorified, like, you know, yeah, your name's still ringing and all this, because this was the image and this was all about. This is the belief system that comes in your brain and your heart now. Now it's like an addiction, it's attraction, it's a thrill. Like, the streets love me, like, I gotta keep this up. Like, if this person do this, I gotta do this now, or I gotta do that. So they were still doing that. And then when I came home that time, and I guess when I did my fed time, I realized, but it wasn't, I didn't realize fully because I still had somewhat love still. And then when I just came around on this time, which is about the 5th or the 6th time, I ain't had none of that. Not nothing. And that's when I really realized. And the reason why I believe that I didn't have none of that is because I believe that they believed that it was over for me. It wasn't gonna be no more coming back out, so it wasn't even really no reason to even be glorifying me no more. Or I just put it like this: it was no reason to be respecting me no more. More so fear.
They thought you was done.
Yeah,
they thought you was done.
Yeah, you was done. So it's like now we ain't even gotta like show you no more love. It's on to the next, and then I reappeared, and all the love came back.
Look, we're gonna take y'all from one. That's a perfect way to chill out for a little bit. I told y'all it's gonna get real in here. You feel me? Take y'all to that first commercial break. We'll be right back. Takeoverfiles.
But allow me to reintroduce myself. I go by the name Anthony Dupree.
What's going on? This is your boy Lito TakeOVer. I got my partner over here, Tiffany D. This is the Takeoverfiles of Press Pause Production. In this episode right here, we have one of the most iconic men in entertainment, media, radio. You've seen him on Uncommon Sense. You've seen him 1/3 of The Breakfast Club. We just saw him in Body the other day at the premiere. The one and only Mr. Charlamange, God. How you doing?
What's happening, my brother? That's a hell of an intro.
Right.
But thank you. I appreciate it. You know, if you say I'm iconic, I believe you.
Hey man, well, me personally, I feel like that because we all feel like that because just the way you've held down the media while staying yourself. And now you're dropping books, man. So tell us a little bit about Shook One.
Yeah, this is my second book, Shook One, Anxiety Playing Tricks on Me. I wouldn't even call it a follow-up to Black Privilege, you know what I'm saying? It's just a whole nother experience, I've been dealing with anxiety my whole life, got clinically diagnosed with it like 9 years ago. Never really tried to get a handle on it until the past year. And so it's just literally me journaling I was keeping a journal of all my experiences with anxiety because I was flirting with the idea of therapy, and then when I started to go to therapy, I was still keeping, this journal of, everything I was going through, anxiety, and then my therapist started talking to me about PTSD and the source of that, and trauma from things that happened when I was young, and it just turned into this book about mental health, which I didn't even intend for it to be. I just was, talking about my experiences. So when I saw that it turned into this book about mental health, I went and got my man, Dr. Ish Major, who's an actual therapist. So every experience I'm talking about, he gives a clinical correlation to that experience. Because I'm not an expert at nothing. I just got some, experiences, and I like to share them.
Right. So speaking of sharing, tonight you had a phenomenal talk with the host of tonight. Very eye-opening things you were talking about. And one of the things you were talking about was the stigma of Black men in general, but Black men especially, in speaking about mental health and anxiety and all of those things. How important is it to you now, especially having your platform, for people to be aware of this and to be more accepting?
That's a great question because, like I said, I didn't set out to write a book about mental health. I was just talking about my experiences, but now that I see the need for it in our community, and I see that it's like a hunger for it and a thirst for it, and people are dealing with these issues and they want somebody to talk to about them, and they have a stigma, it's like, all right, cool. If that's what God has me meant to do right now, then I'm going to do it. Like I think some things are just bigger than you sometimes, and I think this is just one of those situations where it's bigger than me. So if all I got to do is go out here and talk about my experiences and what I'm going through and how I'm dealing with it, and it'll help somebody else, cool.
And I'm sorry, Lito. I know that you're really famously known for being like very outspoken, very blunt, very yourself. Do you think that sometimes that detracts or maybe may detract from the message that you're trying to send?
Of course, absolutely. But, I can only be me at the end of the day. I always say I'm the perfect balance of ratchetness and righteousness. Sometimes sometimes I'm going to say some things you agree with. Sometimes I'm going to say some things that you disagree with. Sometimes you got to weed through some BS to get to whatever the message is, but I think that's just all a part of being human. I'm not one of those people that's going to sit around and sell people no dream. I think that if you agree with somebody 100% of the time, then that person's probably lying to you and only telling you what you want to hear and telling you what sounds good. And I'm human at the end of the day, so it's going to be ups and downs. You're going to see me make mistakes, especially in this real-time era of social media. Like, I've been doing radio for 20 years. So it's like, of course you're going to see me, stumble a couple of times, but that's just the way things are. And I think that for the most part, people are receiving what they're supposed to receive.
For sure, definitely.
All right, now in the book, I'm on like chapter 4 right now, all right? But I read that you said about anxiety is given. Anxiety is a given when you live a life of crime.
Yes.
So what advice do you have for those who are trying to change their life around, but that anxiety is getting to them and they don't know what to do with it?
Well, I use my anxiety as fuel. You know what I'm saying? I turn that fear into fuel. Like I said on stage, my father would always tell me, if you don't change your lifestyle, you're going to end up in jail, dead, or broke sitting under the tree. And that scared me. I didn't want those options. Those options gave me anxiety just thinking about being in jail, being dead, being broke sitting under the tree. When those things start actually happening to you, when you start going to jail, or you start seeing people around you get killed, or you see people around you get these long prison sentences, or you see people around you really just sitting in the hood doing nothing, it's like, man, that's not what I want for myself. So it's like, I just use that anxiety as fuel to just like motivate me to do something positive. I don't care if that something is like working at a warehouse. I don't care if that something is like working at Taco Bell. Like this, as long as you're doing something positive and and you're happy with that, that's it.
Well, on my side, I got one more question for you because this has been a big a couple of days for you. Just dropped the book. Now you got Bodied, a movie that you were just featured in. Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah, that dropped November 2nd.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I'm a producer on Body too. I'm one of the producers of Body, the consultant producer, but I don't even remember when we shot that. We shot that like maybe 2 years ago, and my man Joseph Kahn reached out to me and he asked me to played a character of 100 grams, and this is before even Eminem was involved. But then I heard Eminem was always involved. He just was keeping his name off it. And then I remember we went to the Toronto Film Festival maybe last year, and it got such rave reviews, and that's how it's like just grown into this thing that people are actually anticipating, which is weird. Because I've been in a few films, but nothing that has gotten like the anticipation that this one is receiving, So it's just fun to watch, and I can't wait to see how people receive it, because the message in it is really dope. Like, people think it's just a battle rap movie, but it's really a movie about, this PC era that we live in, and how your words do have consequences. Like, there is no such thing as freedom of speech. Like, all of the speech comes with a certain cost. So how much are you willing to pay to say whatever it is the hell you want? Say whatever the hell you want to say. So it's gonna be good. Y'all like it?
I loved it. That was a great movie, man. We saw the premiere yesterday.
You liked it?
I wasn't at the premiere yesterday.
Dope.
See how they treat me?
Word. Cool.
We need to write to our congressman about this. No, I'm just kidding. We just want to thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to speak with you tonight,
Thank y'all.
for shedding some light on a very important issue. I need everybody to go cop that book, Shook One, right now.
Yes, sir. It's right
Get
there,
it? Yeah, let's get this book.
There you go. Boom.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Go
And
get
make sure
that.
y'all go see this film November 2nd.
Body.
Charlamagne the God. You can catch him on the Breakfast Club. He's doing everything all over the place. You can catch him everywhere. But right now you can catch him on Press Pause Productions. Lito TakeOVer, Tiffany D, Charlamagne the God, Press Pause.
Lito, Tiffany, thank you.
Thank you.